Hi, Carrie Fossler reporting live from the mulch pile. Little puppy Rosie behind me. So I've been meaning to tell y'all the origin story. The origin story of the 4-acre pocket neighborhood in the North End of Bastrop. I can tell you the beginning of the story because I was the only one there. But I can't tell you the middle of the story. I had to step out on election night, and I can't tell you the ending of the story because nobody knows how it ends. But I can tell you the beginning of the story because it's a beautiful story, and I was intimately involved with it. So this is how it began. It was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So I'm a real estate agent in Bastrop, and I get calls for housing needs all day long, every day. And I noticed a pattern of the kind of calls I was getting. It was like, I just need a small house. Do you have anything small? I just need a back house. Or I just live by myself now and I don't want a yard. Do you know of anything small? Do you know of a backyard? It's just me. I just had like over and over and over and over and over people saying like, I just need something little. I just need something little. I don't need anything big. I prefer to own. I could rent, but I just need something little. And Bastrop has the side yards. It's like part of our DNA. Like it's some of the older traditional lots, the older farm lots have like a big house on them, and then they have like a side yard with a side house. So people know that there are side houses around, and they're in highly coveted, high demand. You have to know somebody to get in. They're like never listed on the market for rentals. Sorry about my dog. But there's nothing like that for home ownership around here, and I always get those calls. At the same time, I'm on the call list for schools. Like when teachers move to town and are looking for housing, I get those calls too. Like we have an international teacher coming in, or from some of my friends who like own businesses down, like, oh, we just hired a new manager, they're gonna move here, do you have anything small? Like I'm on all these call lists for people who are like constantly needing housing. And at the same time, I go to my dance class at the rec center, and there's a lot of widows there. And they're always cooking up this idea. Like, hey, do you know of a big house with a lot of rooms that we could all live in community, and then when we need care, we can like rent out one of the rooms to a caretaker, but we all want to live together. Can you find us a big house with a lot of rooms so we can do that? Or is there a place where we can put like a bunch of little houses so we can all live in community? They're always saying that. And at the same time, I'm talking to my friends who have kids, who have noble professions, not very well paid, and they're kind of like, hey, my kid's a mental health professional. I believe in this work. They believe in this work. I want to support them. I don't want them to live in my house anymore. They have a good, steady job, but they only make this much. Like, what could they qualify for? And the truth is there's nothing for them. So I'm in the middle of all these conversations, right? And then at the same time, I'm in the conversations with the owners of historic homes in downtown Bastrop. I'm friends with lots of those owners as well. They kind of pull me aside. They're like, okay, this is the deal. We're on the 5-year plan. We can't keep up. We can't keep up with these houses. We've loved living here. Like, it's time to find somebody else who can take over these houses. We can't keep up with the maintenance. Like, we lost our favorite contractor. Maybe some of our friends have passed, and I don't want to leave my spouse in that situation. Like, we need to start downsizing. We need to start downsizing now. And we do not want to leave downtown Bastrop. We're the ones who fought for these sidewalks. It's taken years to get them in. We're in a walkable city now. Like, I don't want to move to the colony. A lot of our friends are moving to the colony. I do not want to move to the colony. I want to stay in downtown Bastrop. Is there anything for us? Because if there is, a lot of our friends will sell and move there in those conversations. So, like, all these calls are coming in. It's just like the nature of my life, and I'm just like noticing all these patterns. At the same time, I'm sitting in all these meetings and all these community meetings Specifically, probably the one I remember most is like the governmental affairs committee of the chamber. Like it's a group where it's like there's county representatives and city representatives and nonprofit leaders and business leaders, and it's a once-a-month meeting where we just talk about needs in the community, so we're not like overlapping, and we're like collaborating. I've been in those meetings for 10 years now. It's almost been 10 years I've been sitting in those meetings. It's the same expressed need. We need housing for veterans. We need housing for workforce. We need housing for teachers. It's the same conversation for 10 years. It's the same conversation. I've never seen anyone able to put together the resources to do anything about it, or maybe anyone crazy enough to try. That's where I come in. But it's the same need expressed, even more crystal clear now than it was 7 years ago. It's like the two biggest barriers are like childcare and workforce housing. That is what every city needs, and needs it right now. Okay. And then let's like talk about the production builders, because I've talked to them about it too. Like, production builders wouldn't touch a little community like this. Like, they're not traditional sizes. And there's too many variety of house types that we were talking about. So like, production builders won't touch it. It doesn't fit their mold. It's like not what they do, and there's no money in it. And big developers likewise, like, there's no money in like a little pocket neighborhood like this. Like, there's just like, it's not what they do. They are profit-driven developers, and that's okay. We need them to build housing. And then there are like purpose-driven developers. Those are the ones that have been missing in Bastrop County. Also, what is so interesting is that economic development corporations can fund affordable housing projects. And ours hasn't gone near it. I don't exactly know why. Maybe you could ask them. I mean, my guess is that they have other priorities, and that like business expansion is a lot sexier than affordable housing. So I don't know, go ask them. But that's an interesting thing. So this is the deal. I was sitting in the middle of all these conversations, and the patterns were so clear. They're so clear. It's so clear exactly what we need, and what the people need, and what we need in order to make it happen. It's like the prescription for the problem was being written before my very eyes. It's like, how do all the pieces of the puzzle, right? These pals need housing. They can't do anything about it. They can't touch it. They just want to talk about it. And I started thinking, like, do I know anyone who would touch this? Like, who would touch this? Who would invest in this? Do I know any well-resourced people who would donate so much time, so much money into something that doesn't make money? Do I know anyone like that? I'm like, yeah. My sister and her husband believe in housing. We believe in the missing middle housing, and I believe in it too. We believe in home ownership opportunities for people is the way for like families to create wealth for the families, and for families just to buy in for the first time. Home ownership is super important to me. It's been important to my life. I was very, very late to the game. Never thought I could do it. And there's opportunities to like buy in, like, just aren't really around anymore. So I asked them if they would be willing to do this, and we talked about it for a long time, and they said yes. So we started talking more seriously about it. It is like finding well-resourced people who are interested in investing and creating the missing middle. Like, it's missing. It doesn't exist here. And so I found the land. I found a 4-acre tract of land in my neighborhood in the North End. and I found the resources, God bless them. I found people who were willing to invest in this. So I had all the people lined up, still do, they're still lined up. I found the land, I found the resources, and I put them all together and just let them do their thing. And an amazing team formed. And I stayed on the calls as like community story. I was just always bringing the community stories, like this is what the people need, or this is who I talk to. I was just boots on the ground bringing community story, because I didn't have any money to invest in that. It's fun that people thought I did, but no, I don't have that kind of money. So no, I have no money in this project. My involvement has been community story, offering community stories of what people need. So I kept the stories going. I interviewed all kinds of people, throughout those years, and I actually didn't have to seek any out. Like, they all came to me. It was that's how much need there is. There was just that much like need being expressed to me all the time. So these are the specific housing. These are the specific requests that this housing development responded to. I'm going to lay out the demographics of the people, how their interviews went, and what they specifically asked for. So the senior residents said very clearly they want to be close to the senior center and rec center to minimize driving. They want to avoid highway driving altogether. They want people close by. They want sidewalks. They don't want yards, and they want big porches. Widows. I work with a lot of widows, and I dance with a lot of widows, and widows have just always found their way to me, and I just hold them very dear. So widows said they want people close by, especially young kids who can do favors for them for modest fees, so they don't have to keep saving up their to-do list for expensive handymen. They don't want yards, but they want big porches where they can feel connected and safe, because people can see them, yet they can feel comfortable in their own space. That's what the widows want. The veterans said they just want a small place to call home. They don't want to drive too much anymore. They don't want a yard. They want a big porch, and they want to teach young kids the skills that they have accumulated over a lifetime. The older boomers coming from the big houses said they want attached garages. They want to be able to carry their groceries in a covered way. They don't want a yard. Everybody's over a yard, y'all. Not everybody, but everybody I talk to, they're like, we don't care. We want a big porch. And they want porches that could easily adapt to ADA later in their lives when they need it, without it looking like an afterthought. They want smart designed homes that don't have to be ADA now, but could be easily converted with like, what are those called? Lift bars and porches that can be easily convertible and still look really nice. That's what they want. And they also want kids by to do chores and heavy lifting. They also want bagels close by. We did not promise them that. Teachers, talked to lots and lots of teachers. They just want to be close by. They want to be close by, close to their schools to minimize their commute. And they never thought they would be able to earn anything. So this was very exciting conversations with the teachers. The young parents that I talked to said they want their kids to grow up around older generations. They want sidewalks throughout, with people on front porches who can have collective eyes on their kids like the good old days. I said, we got it. Artists and musicians said they just want a small place to call home. Never thought they would be able to buy something, but the thought of being able to buy something and like walkable from where all their gigs are just like made them absolutely light up. And the firefighter and police, they said they're sick of driving from 2 towns over. They want to live here. So those are all the people I interviewed. Those are like the groups of people I interviewed over the past few years. These are like this community was drawn and designed for them in proximity and sizes that they asked for. Oh, here comes my little Rosie. She's hungry. So I want to ask three questions. If not here, then where? If not this piece of land, then where? So this land is close to the schools, it's close to the senior center, it's close to the rec center, it's close to the parks, it connects with sidewalks. It's not in the historic district. It doesn't have huge historic homes around it. It has modest working class family homes all around, all kinds of people, many of them who've lived there for a very long time. And most of them have expressed that they too have family members who would be a good fit for living in that neighborhood. So that's been the response from all of them. And I live in this neighborhood too. This is my neighborhood. So if not them, who? That's my second question. If not these developers, then who? If development is indeed inevitable, and it is, y'all, it is, who do you want developing in your neighborhood? Do you want the big developers who come and drop their cookie cutter subdivisions into your unique town? Because it's a recipe that works everywhere, so surely it will work here too, and surely it will look everywhere like everywhere else. And it could be anywhere USA. That's available to us. We got plenty of that on the outskirts. And then they will develop and they will be gone. Or small, local, nonprofit developers who live here and have hand-drawn a pocket neighborhood that's responsive to the housing needs of Bastropians, and who will continue to live alongside and be interwoven with this community and gain nothing monetarily from this project. Not all developers are created equal. I kind of learned that the hard way when I started working in real estate. I just kind of wrote, I'm like, I do not work with developers. I do not work with investors. I just kind of had this, like, I cut them all off. Like, I only work with humans. I only work with humans. And as I got further along in my career, I realized that all developers are not made equal. All investors are not equal. So I'm careful to not paint everybody with the same, with the same broad stroke, or I could miss some really nuanced information. And so I want to tell you that, like, there is a difference between profit-driven developers and purpose-driven developers. There is a difference. And yes, they both have budgets to work with. And yes, you should totally follow the money. Go ask them. Go follow the money and report back to all of us, please. It will be a great exercise. Go follow the money. Third question, if not now, when? You know, I always hear that, like, people write their own eulogies by the kind of life they live. I feel that way about towns too. I feel like a town writes its own legacy by looking at who gets to live there. Who did we plan for? Who did we exclude? Maybe purposefully, and who did we unintentionally exclude? I want to live in a community that plans for all these demographics I talked about, because if they're not planned for, they will get pushed out and out and out, and then we will not be the Bastrop that we know and love. Like, this one little experimental neighborhood will not change the character of our town. It's the first of its kind, and it's the last of its kind. Thanks for listening to the origin story of the 4-acre pocket neighborhood in the North End of Bastrop, Texas. Love you all.